date that needs to be learned so that students also understand what happened in April 2011 to avoid the reoccurrence. So we're going to open the floor, but unfortunately we don't have a moving mic. So if anybody wants to say something, the first option is always to come to the mic. Otherwise, I know there are people that are introverts like Saibo, they will not want to come to the mic. So they can sit there and we can just use our natural voice and see how do we start that conversation. But the conversation is, my first question is, let's talk about the Ibrahim Bari's case. Was it necessary for the teacher to leave the school authorities and leave the entire school and then go to hand over Ibrahim Bari to the fire service? In fact, if it was police, you could say you report a case. Ibrahim Bari was taken to the fire rescue services and he was beaten to death, brutalized to death. And what do you think of this? What do you think of Binta's case? And let's relate this to the current realities. We have seen police brutality taking a spark after 22 years and all what have been said at the TRRC. We have seen how women have been continuously harassed and violated in this country continuously. So let's have this conversation, and as we have this dialogue, we reflect and then connect it to our current reality. So if you want to speak.
So let me just get the mic so I can go through the process.
Before that, remember victims first. Victim reflection first.
Hello. So let me just get the log length. Do you have anybody that's ready to talk? So this is the front where the love shine is.
All right. So like I said, we're not going to have a moment of reflection now, and we want to reflect on the April 2011, and let's connect it to the realities. But also before we start with the general participants, we have the victims right here, and we want to have the victims reflection, and then from there we're going to open the conversation to the general public and the participants.
Auzu billahi mina shaytaani rajiim. Maa ngi ñaan képp ku fi nekk ñun ñëpp ak jiitu ñu ñaanal leen yàlla xare leen arjana. Yes. Asalaamaaleykum mbooloo bi ñu fi dajee yëpp maa ngi nuyu kenn ku nekk sa tur ak sa sant ma oo turi ñëpp honorable tamit ko xam ne jógee na fi léegi ne ñu ko nuyu bu baax ñu ko gërëm di ko sant di ko dee folo bu baax donc ñu daal nuyu yow tamit di la ziyaare kontaan nañ bu baax pour fekkee bés bii nii April April 1st xam ngeen ko xamu leen ko victime April 2011 ñëpp feebar nañ dellu nañ si muut boo xam ne bugguñu faa dellu waaye saa su nekk April daf ñoo oo si loolu April dafa nekk weer boo xam ne weer bu daag la si Gambia te Gambians mun maa wax ñëpp waaye président bi in général xamuñ ne weer bi weer bu daag la lii weer boo xam ne la weeri métit la weer boo xam ne la si la suñ ngiroo si daanu weer boo xam ne la si la suñ njiit yi daanu weer boo xam ne la si la suñ future leaders yi gaañu si lañu am problème ñun ñëpp youth yu bari ñaaka seen life ñu bari ba léegi ñu ngi nekk nii ku seet Youssouf Mbye tey mun naa nekka mu nekkoon suñ future président xamuñ ko life am destroy na ngir loolu nga seet Sainabou Camara school am continué wut ngir loolu Oumy Diagne Abdou Karim Seni Senghor doon mun a wax ñëpp waaye seetal ñooñu ndax si lan lañ toll dara kenn ku nekk mu ngi struggle pour life am nguur gi pour dimbale ñu ñun tekut ko benn seconde sax jëlut ko pour mu dimbale ñu waaye dama dugaye fii sax dama gisee Mariama tuuti la suma xol bi lifin tuuti ma kontaan tuuti waaye maa ngi nekk si baat mu April bu taxawee rek ñun dee nañ ba pare parce que dañ dee fàttaliku bés boobu every day yaa ngi seet April 2011 ñëw bi dem nguur bi yëgut ne April 10 jot na sax parce que man dégguma ko si news bi nguur bi dafa lii dafa war a nekk lu xam ne throughout newspapers yi radio yi télévision yi lii moo fa war a dem mu nekk nguur gi dafa war a génn mu joxe statement boo xam ne April 10 and 11 students yi dinañ ci gis seen bopp waaye defut ko kon ñun lan la ñoo wax ne mun daf ñu faale nguur gi yëgut victime si seen bopp parce que man say na bu always dama ko dee wax jëloon na fii tànkaam dem ba Kanilaay dem seet famille Yaaya Jammeh waaye man musuma koo dégg fu mu taxawee victime center kan moo ma ko mën a seedal si victime yi musuma koo gis de man te every programme victime suñ ma ooyut su ma ko yëgee damaa dem parce que man dama xam ne April 10 and 11 loolu moo destroy suma life so du ma daw pour di dem seet foofu noonu any interview ku ñëw pour interview ma damaa wax bi ñun dañ dee dañ fi des rek waaye ñun dee nañ ba pare xam nga nit kuy dee kuy dunda soo ko jekkalee tamit mooy loolu waaye ñun lu ñoo ñaan nguur gi li lay war a sulli yi last year April lañ wax ne dañ fel reparation commission last year April still now man gisuma victime boo xam ne wax na ne jox nañ ma suma reparation gisuma ko man su ma ko gisee dinaa ko wax waaye gisuma ko dégguma ko lan moo tax lii mun a am ba léegi how many years 26 years kon ñun lii ba ñoo dal boobu ay xale yu ndaw lañ suñ life yëpp si lii la destroyé ñaan nañ nguur gi lii lay war a suul buñ ñu seet na seet ne nguur moom defuñu ko waaye nguur moo ñu ko def te moom moo fa toog moom la ñoo wax ñu ngee ñaan képp ku xam ne mun nga ñëw dimbale lii lay war a suuli ñu war a faju ñu faju nañ faju ku faju soo ko waxee ku war a faju soo ko waxee ne toogal nga xaar ma yow nga ne kooku mu dee every now and then victime yaa ngee dee depuis kañ ba répression bi taxawee ñuy wax ne medical board bi dañ ko stop léegi ñu feebar ñuy xaar ba medical board bi war a ñëw kañ la medical board bi commencé waat foog naa last week la metti na lool si ñun ñu ngee ñaan nguur gi ak ñu nekkut nguur gi képp kuy xam ne doomi leen di ñaan ñu leen di jox suñ loxo ngeen dimbale ñu li laay war a suuli pour ñu mën a faju du ñu mën kenn du Yusufa moom kenn wala du Umi Jaay lot of them are sick am na ñu xam ne mënuñoo wax bugguma woon a ñëw waaye Yusufa daf ma kool mu ne ma sëy na bu ñëwoon ma ne ko baax ma ne ko dinaa ñëw ma ne ko ooy ma waaye yëg naa ne April 10 and 11 am na events ku ma koolut man damaa dem parce que dama ci bokk soo gisoon man doon jooy parce que nga xam ne yow bi nga nekkee xale bu ndaw yaa ngi si métit bi nga ñëw ba léegi yaa ngi si métit boobu noonu ñun si seen moto yi fay ni ñun si seen néeg yi fay ni xamuñ ñun lan lañ nekkee di dundee nga la ne ñu dimbale yàlla xam ne xaalis bu ñoo wane mun si account Yaaya Jammeh musuñoo wax ñaata la ñun xamuñ ko musuñoo wane ñaata la asset yi jaay ba léegi mënuñoo dimbale benn victime bu xam ne faj nañ ko ñu dimbale ko victime yaa ngee dee every day xanaa ku xool kii sa yaram war naa daw dama doon dox ak suma ñaari tànka di waaxu di dem di ñëw ma amee suma jaboot waaye léegi banta laa yore may dem di ñëw mënumaa liggéeyal suma boppa dara ndax ñoom seen yaram warut a daw loolu ku nekkut man Umi Jaañ mënut a defaral boppam dara mënu koo def suñ ko dimbalewut xanaa suñ jàppee kenn sax ñu dimbale ko dinañ wax ne kon ka jàpp nañ kii ñu koo dimbale ñun mu xaaral ñu res waaye dañ gisut victime yuñ dimbale nekkut nag dañoo jël April 10 and 11 victime rek pour wax ñooñu rek de all victims man gisuma benn victime bu am ne mu ne man yóbbu nañ ma fii maa ngi faju man loolu laa mën a wax nañ ñu dimbale lii laay war a suuli nuñ ko mën a defee rek nu mun a gaawee rek nañ ñu ko defaree loolu maa ngi wax ñëpp ñu xam ne ñëw nañ fi gërëm nañ leen sant nañ leen yéen ñu organise lii tamit gis nañ ne bàyyu leen ñu waaye ñun tamit ñu leen di ñaanal yàlla fay leen yàlla barkeel seen liggéey fi ngeen bugg a eega yàlla leen fa yàlla eegale si barke yonent bi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam barke allahumma salli ala sayyidina amin
jërëjëf ñëw fi ñëw
Tatu leen ko please.
Never again would you tell me why. Omar, it's not talking. She's not saying anything. I said never again. All right. Use I
All right, thank you very much, Auntie Zainab. And we continue to stand with you. It has been 26 years of pain, and and abundance. And we understand this, and we understand that victimization is one of the most painful thing. And I said this morning. I don't know why. I am disappointed, but I'm disappointed that since the new government came, I'm not sure. I'm open to be corrected that they have ever released even a statement to acknowledge the April 10, 11, which itself is a tragedy, which itself is unacceptable. But we're going to continue to stand by you, and we're going to continue to call for justice and accountability at all angles to ensure you are not only liberated, but justice is served, and is served in the best manner. And thank you very much. So we're running against time. We're in a country where transportation is a big problem. So we're going to take quick reflections. If anybody have something to say, just raise your hand and I'll bring the mic to you, and then we can have a 5-10 minutes discussion and we can wrap up. Okay, Akwaka. You can introduce yourself while you stand up for the video.
Sorry.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum.
1 minute.
Yeah, at first I have to extend my condolences to the departed souls. I pray Allah grant them Jannah, and all the people suffering right now, I pray you are healed. Yes, this was an incident, a terrible one for that matter, that happened in the country well before I was born. But when I came into this world, I was told what happened in April 10 and 11, 2000. I just have to bring this forward so that the CSOs can also take note of it. Last year, when I was the head boy of Newsrat, and I was the president of the Gambia Student Leaders as well, I took students all over the country to the Minister of Business and Education under the leadership of Habibatul Drame to discuss about student affairs in the Gambia. From CRR, URR, LRR, NBR, KMC, and West Coast Regional as well, student leaders across. We went to the ministry, we sat, and we talked about student affairs. During the discussion, we brought the issue of April 10 and 11. We proposed to the ministry that we want these days to be honored by all the students across the country. That's what we intended to do last year. Frame it. They thought that it would be, a sort of, bringing memories that shouldn't be brought back. That's how they frame it. They did not want us to bring this because they thought it would be, an embarrassment to the families or to the victims right now. That's how they thought. We told them, no, this is something that people need to be aware of. This is something that we need to, remind the people so that it will not be never again. That's the purpose. But we've been seeing recurrences. We've been seeing what is happening. What happened in April 10 and 11 is happening right now. So that's one thing. Please, CSOs, and students should be here as I speak. Students should be here. School-going students should be around to be aware of this. Most of the school-going students were not aware of this when this happened to the land. So they need to know. That was our purpose. Please, that's the recommendation I want to put forward. Please pursue that. We need to see students, coming to know that this is what happened at 10 and 11, please. That's my recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And thank you. And students are not here, but there have been a popularization of this documentary across all regions, and where students were all this documentary and after reflection. And but also you forget to say one thing. You were one of the detainees that was arrested and then and imprisoned in the May 8 protest. And then that reminds me of the April 10, 11 that students could join peaceful protests and they could, and it was ahead of your exams. You were nearly gonna be, you're a victim, but you're nearly gonna lose your exams and all of that. So you could have acknowledged that. No, you just have to speak to it.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jara Suare. I am a April 10 victim. I am here to represent myself and my brother, Hassan Suare. I don't just want to come without saying anything. It's like I stopped fighting. I have to say this to admit what Say says. Today should be a national event. I am so disappointed. When I came here, I saw only few people, only CSOs, and that should not be done by now. I thought TRRC implementation will be implemented by now, and victims will be compensated, and we will have justice. Because for me, I lose hope, especially on justice. Because justice delay is a justice deny. And with the cases I saw, especially when it comes to cases like Sonko, Usman Sonko, former Minister of Interior, the domestic violation was not charged. And we all witnessed still, Binta's situation is still going. We saw that 5 years old was raped and that person was pardoned. It means that perpetrators are free, and others outside there will have the hope to do it again, and they are doing it again, killing us one by one. We didn't know who will be next. Even last month during the Ramadan, we witnessed it. They killed a girl in her office who feed her family, and nothing came out of it. Please, I'm urging the government to take a step on it. Let the perpetrators see accountability. Let them see justice. Because if they hold people accountable, nobody will do it again. But if they pardon them, even international, they will think that they can still go and do it. And that is what is happening. So this is what I have to say.
Omar. Omar, you have to be careful with the cake.
All right, thank you very much. We're gonna have the family of Lamin Bojang, one of the students that lost his life during the April 10/11 demonstration, and we have his brother to make a reflection. Can you please come here? The mic will not be able to get there.
You can come forward.
Ibu, can you come just somewhere close here so that the mic gets you?
You can take a seat there.
I'm a victim, neglected by the system, I'm a victim, rejected by the system, I'm a victim. Then what they gonna do, Madala, I'm a victim, guaranteed non-reoccurrent, I'm a victim, neglected by the system, I'm a victim, rejected by the system, I'm a victim. Then what they gonna do, Madala, I'm a victim.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening to my respected elders, brothers and sisters. My name is Ibu Bojang, a brother to the late Lamin A. Bojang of Jambur, and a Nusra student. Today, like usually, the month of April is my birth date, but I never celebrate it. Okay. Because, you know, looking at, reflecting back at the life of Lamin, he has an exemplary life, and I have never opened my mouth to talk about what has happened since his demise, and the scene that happened when my father was disclosing that Lamin is late. It's been 26 years, so today perhaps is the day that I have to open up and share this. My parents were away to a family function somewhere in Bansang, and it was Monday morning when I heard from my brother, Lamin's younger brother, that there is going to be a student demonstration. Living in Talinding around the highway, I can see the thick smoke high in the sky. And there were chaos going on. Still young at the time, I stayed home, but then there were landlines, you know. My dad was always calling to check on us. And it went on that way until in the evening when everybody was home. Our neighbors were around, you know, friends were around, other brothers too, but Lamin was not home. And then, you know, I took a walk with my brother towards Churchillstown, trying to see if we can find Lamin. And, you know, then we went home and we were there. Lamin never returned home. When my dad came that evening, he didn't have time to relax. Usually when you come from the journey from, you know, Bansa at that time, you need to rest. You need to freshen up. But he immediately jumped on his bike, you know, went in search of his son. Then it sounds to me that every father is a hero to his son, and my father, I can attest to that, he's a hero to us. You know, then he went back and forth to check on my brother. Were showing wasn't something encouraging. The day when he confirmed and he came home to break the news to us, I was seated on his right side on the chair. He may not remember. My mom was seated, families, friends, and relatives. That day I witnessed something which I never want to see. Because when I saw my mom crying when my dad broke the news, I'm like, it's better for her to die before me so that, you know, I don't want to see her cry again in that manner. And my dad made an expression which I have never saw him do, and then since that day he never did. He was heartbroken. He was heartbroken. He was disappointed. And when he broke the news, then, you know, then nobody could control his or her emotions. I went to Nusrat, the school that Lamin schooled, before his life was cut short. Wandering within the four corners of Nusrat, I will try to, you know, walk everywhere to feel his footprint. At least here is where my brother stepped on. He studied commerce, and I was also studying commerce. And honestly, word for word, letter for letter, and all the punctuations were exact as it is written, you know, by the teachers at that time. So meaning I used his books when I was going to school. And sometimes I read his books. Right now in my village, there's no Lamin Jar because that's how he was known. We had only one Lamin Jar, and thereafter there is no Lamin Jar again in my community because he is loved by all. He is that down to earth, and you know, he earns people respect. When I look at other families and how successful they have become, and things that they had attained, those that were his age mates, I'm like, you know, Lamin would have done something better. He has the stuff, you know, he's brilliant, he's intelligent. He was going to be a national asset, but then his life was cut short. And here we are, after 26 years, demanding justice for not just him and those that he fought with. And we still gonna say the recommendations that were printed out by the TRRC has to be, you know, implemented, without which the reoccurrences we have seen, and this is going to continue. Ourselves, we are not protected if we don't see these things being implemented. Otherwise, there are more victims that we are going to fight for. I end here. I say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I'm a victim, neglected by the system. I'm a victim, rejected by the system. I'm a victim. Then when they go to Matala, I'm a victim. Guaranteed not the cover. I'm a victim.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Bojan. May Lamin's soul continue to rest in peace. I agree with you on one thing, that all of us are never protected if the TRRC recommendations on the April 10-11 is not implemented. Like I keep saying, that if we decide to ignore a system that could kill school-going children in uniform, they should be able to, and they will, when they kill any of us on the streets. And the never again should continue to be the never again. We are running out of time, so we'll pick Imran. Is Imran here? Yeah, so Imran, please.
I'm a victim, neglected by the system. I'm a victim, rejected by the system. I'm a victim. Then when they go to Matala.
That's it, Baran. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, everyone. I would want to start by saying thank you to all of those who came today here to commemorate this day for us. We're all sorry. And I also want to recognize the victims that are amongst us and the families of victims that are amongst us. We pray that the departed souls, may Allah have mercy on them, may they rest in peace. And those who are struggling and facing difficulties in every kind of way, may Allah make things easy for them. But we are also demanding that the government take their responsibilities and also do something, because Allah wouldn't come down to fix the problems. There are people that are responsible, that are going to be held responsible for it. I wanted to say a few things. First, the fact that what happened in April 10 and 11, 2000 is still issues that we are dealing with today in terms of the relationship between young people, the government, and security forces. But also, I think I want to say first something to young people as well, especially the few that are still around at the moment. This is, I think, something that is really a responsibility on you to commemorate and to remember April 10 and 11. I am always angry and disappointed, to be honest with you, to go to places and find that young people don't, or some young people don't even know what April 10 and 11 is about. They don't know anything about it. And that is just shocking thing. You know, when these people lost their lives, and some of them lost their livelihoods, it was not only about them. What happened to them and what they did to come out and protest something that was a wrong in society. That was for every one of us, whether we were around or we were not, whether we were born yet or not. So for those of us that are around, especially the young people, it is important to remember your history. And this is a core part and critical part of your history. So please remember it, and please make sure you also take steps to address wrongs that are happening in the society as we see them now. I know there are a lot of distractions in our society now for young people, trying to achieve things on a personal level, distracted by a whole lot of things. But these things are important. Remembering what happened in the 22 years that we suffered under Yahya Jammeh is critical, it's important, and I cannot emphasize it enough. But now, just moving on to the issue of the state and its relationship with young people, and also with their relationship with victims. I always ask this question: if our government ministers can have vehicles costing tens of millions of dollars, and they can actually renew them every few years, why is it not possible to provide the basic necessities for victims that are sitting in a wheelchair? Even to have an electric wheelchair for a victim, they cannot provide that. But you can buy $10 million vehicles and be running around in them. A wholly well and physically able minister or director of an organization or institution in this country can have an orderly following them around, holding their bag, and you cannot provide a person to provide support and services to somebody that you actually shot. Because the state is a continuous entity. It's not, oh, we didn't do it, it was Yahya Jammeh that did it. If any president or any leader comes to a country and claims that, then you don't deserve to be a leader because you don't understand the dynamics of government, right? So these are critical things, and it's a shame that we have to commemorate this. Civil society comes together every year, in few numbers and try to commemorate this. Very rare do you see, or hardly ever do you see any security or government official attending this thing, and so they don't even remember it. I remember having last year this conversation with Mr. Bojan, and understanding from him that the institutions of the state didn't even realize, right? And the most important part of it is that we see the same thing happening again, right? All of these gala protests that we've been seeing, and it's easy to paint young people, or they are disruptive, they are problematic. It was the same thing that they said about young people in April 10 and 11, 2000. I actually went out on that day, but lucky for me, my grandfather found me and took me back home. But when I got home in the evening, what I was hearing on the radio was that, these young people, if they had stayed at home, if they were under their fathers and mothers, nothing will happen to them. So you blame the young people for protesting and, irresponsibility of a government, because their colleague was tortured, their colleague was raped, and they stood up for it. They stood up for the truth. We are now in a society where it's the same thing happening. Young people again standing up for the truth, standing up for the rights of not only themselves, but for the society in general. And they are still being called troublemakers. And they are being harassed in a lot of ways, dragging them to court, putting them in, prisons, sometimes even enforced disappearances, because arresting people and moving them around so that their family members and their lawyers cannot find them, it's not right, it's illegal. And I have seen it with experience in these recent times. So our advocacy, our urge to the government is to take seriously the state of the victims, but also understand that you cannot continue to do these things. You have to engage with young people conducively, in a way that would benefit the entire country. Young people are the resource of the country, and encourage them, support them, provide them with justice, and they would actually serve the country as well. If we are all, if we all believe what we are saying about developing the country and moving it forward, we urge government to take these things seriously. Recognize this day, April 10 and 11, and make sure these recommendations of the TRRC to commemorate it are put in place. Both renaming even this monument where we are today, which is something the victims have requested and asked about, and provide them the reparations, the health needs that they need to live dignified lives. So I will stop there. I can rant on forever, but thank you very much. And thank you again to those who came, to the partners that joined hands to commemorate this day again. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much. We are actually running out of time, but Imran have raised serious issues here, especially our current state of the nation and what young people are doing with the gala protests and all of these protests, but also with the general call for accountability. Because I remembered I was once asked this question, Saibo, why are you not fearful of the tear gas and the guns when you lead protests? And I keep telling them, the fear of injustice, the fear of corruption, the fear of impunity is greater than the fear to be on the streets and face the tear gas. So our advocacy, especially on the April 10, 11, should not just be a reflection of the victims, but also ourselves. Every day we see a sign of April 10, 11 repeating itself, and it's only resistance, that will salvage this country. And we are running out of time. Kira is want to say something. I'm going to give you 1 minute 30 seconds, and we have Yusufa and we're going to close. It's getting late, and then we have Ajit to do the closing remarks. So 1 minute 30 seconds.
It's supposed to be your transitional justice. But in this transition, I still don't see no justice. I'm still feeling hopeless deep down, I'm still disgusted. 10 years gone, nothing has been discovered. I was promised truth, but witnesses are disappearing. Despite my trauma, I don't see no sense of caring. Yo, I smile, deep down it really hurts. They promise to put victims and their dignity first. They don't seem to recognize my violations. They tell me it's a process whilst I'm dying waiting. I see former perpetrators being reinstated. Truth seeking is hard when the truth is being played with. Justice denied, every day is delaying. If you're a victim, then you know what I'm saying. I am a victim of systematic abuse. How we gonna reconcile when we don't even know the truth? I'm a victim. Neglected by the system, I'm a victim. Rejected by the system, I'm a victim. I'm a victim. Guaranteed non-reoccurrence, let's go, I'm a victim. Neglected by the system, I'm a victim. Rejected by the system, neglected by the system, rejected by the system. Then guaranteed non-reoccurrence, I'm a victim of rape, torture, brutality. Health-wise, I'm internally dying gradually. I am a victim of the corrupt judicial system. They seize my rights and then put me in a prison. I am a victim from the previous regime. I disappeared, murdered, body never to be seen. I am an April 10/11 victim still seeking help to pay the cost of needed medical treatment. I am a victim of shocking sexual violence. Group of men tied me up and forced themselves inside me. Every time I think of it, yeah, I start crying. I'm scared to share my story, so I remain silent. I'm a victim, so my dream homeland jealousies. Nujay Madole, fully slows through my case being. I am a victim of systematic abuse. How we gonna reconcile when we don't even know the truth? I'm a victim.
I'm a victim, rejected by the system, of course, and I'm a victim. So I will give you 1 minute so that we wrap up now. Salifu.
Thank you so much, Umar Sebo. I just want to add one or two things about the conversations. I could recall vividly the day that we were arrested at Banjul. Before I leave home, I told my sister that I'm going out. She told me, "Where are you going?" Then I didn't tell her exactly where I'm going because I know she would not allow me to go. But then I took a car, then went to Banjul. I texted Rohit Diba. I told her that I'm going for a protest, but then anything could happen because permit was not given. Then I went and I reached at Banjul, and then unfortunately we were arrested. But before that, I told her anything happens to me, you can actually reach out of water, and told him that this is what exactly it has been happened. Then before we were sent behind bars, I called about that I'm arrested. Then he followed me there, and then he was also arrested. That tells you that this can happen to any of us, and it can happen to any person, you know, as far as Nigerian building is concerned. Because we are students, we are at grade 12, and it was 1 week before our exam. This actually happens. So it's not just to be, let's say, a mere conversation, but we must put these things into actions and making sure the never again mantra, has never happened in this country, because it could happen to any of us. And still now what we are seeing in this country can and in future we can see anything. So on that note, I will stop it here, and I will say that we're going to kick where we stop, and then Gambia, we will move.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Salifu. And that's one of the problems we have in this country. The system that is supposed to fix and help victims is creating more victims, and that itself is sad. So to close, I will call on Ms. Aji, Programs Manager at the Francis Small Center for Right and Justice, to give us the closing remark. Aji?
Yes, you can hold this. All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you. So I know we've been talking about yes, I know we've been talking about compensating the victims, but I also hope that the government knows that there's no sort of compensation that would actually commensurate the kind of tragedy that actually befell the victims. So I'm just reading out the closing statement on behalf of all the partners who actually made this event a success. And here it's how it goes. So on this solemn day as partners, we stand united in grief, remembrance and resolve. We gather not only to honor the memory of the young lives so brutally taken on April 10th and 11th, 2000, but also to remind ourselves and our nation that their sacrifice must never fade into silence. The massacre left scars that still ache in our collective conscience, scars that demand justice, scars that demand accountability, and scars that still demand healing. Tonight, as we watched Living with the Scars, together we were reminded that the pain of those days is not confined to history. It lives on in the families who lost their children, in the survivors who carry the trauma, and in the young people who continue to fight for dignity and for freedom. So their courage actually calls us to action. We affirm that the voices but are the heartbeat of our future. Their activism, their resilience, and their demand for justice are the strongest guarantees that such violence will never be repeated again. We call on all stakeholders, including the government, civil society actors, communities, and international partners, to listen to us, to act the way that they should act, but to also stand with the young people of the Gambia in this noble cause. We also lift up the stories of women and girls whose suffering has too often been hidden. The gender dimensions of the massacre reminded us that justice must be inclusive and healing must embrace every survivor, and that silence must never again be allowed to cover pain. As partners, we pledge to continue the struggle together. We will amplify the calls for accountability, strengthen democratic values, and work tirelessly to ensure that the lessons of April 2000 shape a brighter and a more just future for every Gambian, especially for students. Let this commemoration be more than just a remembrance, but let it be a turning point for our country. Let it be the day we renew our promise. Never again will Gambian children be silenced by violence. Never again will injustice be allowed to reign unchecked. And never again will the cries of the people be ignored. Together we honor the fallen. Together we stand with the survivors. Together we commit to building a Gambia where justice, peace and human dignity are not just dreams, but lived realities that every Gambian must enjoy. So we thank you all so much for being here today, and we all wish you safe travel back to your respective homes. Thank you.
All right, thank you. As moderator, I declare this activity closed.